All right, we've got defenses and kickers. Just to start off for a show note, we have JJ McCarthy declared out for the Vikings. We have the Bengals with Joe Burrow being out. So Carson Wentz, Jake Browning are set to start. So we're going to keep our eye as well on Jaden Daniels. The Raiders come into play. And then it would be dart throw city with the Vikings and the Bengals. Still some high octane offenses there. But let's start off with Chev. We had a play last week. We really love the Green Bay Packers. We talked about looking ahead solely for the fact that they are playing the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be an epic matchup for the Green Bay Packers. And for me, 53% on Sleeper, 44% on ESPN. It's getting into that territory where they're going to be a team that you say, hey, go pick them up, go start them. And it's going to be near impossible. So 10 points in week 1, 5 points in week 2. Didn't get as much as you wanted, but if you could live through last week, big things are coming. The Packers are second in sacks in the NFL. They've gotten tremendous pressure on the Lions and the Commanders. We've seen them put 2 high-octane offenses in a blender. The Ravens got 16 fantasy points against the Browns in week 2. First overall defense in week 2 were the Ravens. Joe Flacco threw 45 times in week 2. Roquan Smith had a field day. Micah Parsons is going to wreak havoc. He's going to do phenomenal. Next up, Chev, tell us about the Seahawks playing the Saints. Over under currently at 42.5.
This is a tremendous spot for the Seahawks because they've been pretty staunch so far. I mean, we're talking about a team that's allowing just 0.26 fantasy points per drop back to opposing quarterbacks this year. Spencer Rattler, for all of the jokes that I've made about him, has been really solid, but this is a team that likes to force turnovers. This is a Mike McDonald defense. Mike McDonald, McDaniels the third. I don't know. I get all those guys confused, so I'm surprised that I got it right and then immediately defaulted to me just naming all the Mike McDaniels in the NFL. So this is a defense, though. This Mike McDonald. See, I messed it up that time. I had it the first time. I should have just rolled with it. Anyway, this is a defense that is really, really stingy. They play too high shell against at the 4th highest rate in the NFL and allow just 0.26 fantasy points per drop back. In addition to having 4 sacks in 2 games and 4 interceptions. So this is a spot where you could potentially see a guy like Tariq Woolen or Devon Witherspoon or Ernest Jones. Like, this is a really stout unit, forcing some turnovers, getting short field, double-digit finish. So why don't you tell us now about your play, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Jets, who potentially could be without Justin Fields?
And so that's another one. And it's just in Superflex leagues, you're going against it. But also on the other side, okay, you have the defenses that you can pick up to attack. It's going to be plentiful for the defenses if you're trying to stream. So this is a great week. You got plenty of quarterbacks. It's very shaky there. Tyrod Taylor, an adequate replacement for that Konami code. But still, it's a disruption of the rhythm. The Buccaneers going against the Jets, over under 44.5. 14.5% on ESPN and also 14% on Sleeper. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be an easy defense to pick up if you don't have one of the mainstays like a Denver Broncos or a Philadelphia Eagles. This is a simple play against the Jets, who, again, as you mentioned, they could be without Justin Fields. Fields suffered what looks to be a concussion. He's in the protocol. Tyrod Taylor offers that Konami code goodness, but this is going to truncate down to Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. And a little bit less danger is Tyrod Taylor versus Justin Fields. Braylon Allen, the market on him, oversaturated, very early, overstated, really hasn't been doing too much. His over-under rushing props are in the low teens, and he banged in a lucky touchdown in week 1. The Jets came back down to earth, only 10 points against their division rival Bills. This has the feel of a big Bucky Irving game paired with the Bucs defense. A classic play in DFS. Now, Chev, tell us about the Kansas City Chiefs. Tough loss against the Super Bowl rematch for the Philadelphia Eagles, but now they have the New York Giants over under in New York, 42.5.
So this is a really interesting play because it not only comes into, forcing extra turnovers with Russell Wilson, but you get into the special teams aspect of it where the Giants were quietly eviscerated by All-Pro returner Kevontae Turpin. So also the next thing that we have to factor in is the Giants did come back to life last week, but that was against the soft cover 3, like middle of the field close, cover 3 defense that Eberflus plays come hell or high water. So this is going to be a much more aggressive attack. That pass rush is going to be able to get after Russell Wilson. They've kind of been disappointing, but this is a get right spot. You saw the Giants left tackle just resort to pimp slapping someone in the middle of a play last week. So I think this Kansas City Chiefs defense is going to potentially finish as a top 5, if not top 3 play, just due to the amount of pressure they're able to generate and the aggressive man coverage that they like to play.
And it's crazy because you're sitting there saying, wait, 450 yards from Russell Wilson, 1 week to the next can be completely different. Let's go. This is both a look-ahead play and a top-tier play. You've got the Bills versus the Dolphins in week 3, but then also looking ahead against the Saints. So we're just picking on the Saints as well. Right now, though, the Bills, 65% on ESPN, 76% on Sleeper. So check where people are sleeping on ESPN and go pick up those Bills. You've got a set and forget defense for the next 2 weeks. The beauty is this is also a bonus defense. You're getting to pick on Tua and the Dolphins and Buffalo, and then you get the Saints. So the Bills are a great play this week and next week. So if you can't go and get the Packers, by all means, you need to make sure you can go and get the Bills. Now, next up, let's hear from the Podfather.
Earlier this year, I tore my rotator cuff, had surgery. It was a mess. They said, oh, it's going to be a year of rehab. And I said, okay. I found an app, Fitbod, which lets me plan my workouts, keep the strength of my lower body, but work on strength and conditioning and flexibility of my shoulder. And man, I so wish I had found it earlier. It plans your workouts every day, how many reps, what time of day, even gives you indicators of where your recovery of your muscles is at throughout the week. It has been an invaluable tool. It's something I credit with my recovery. Working out had always been a mystery to me before. Now with Fitbod, that mystery has been solved. Go to fitbod.me. Fitbod.me and use code PLAYER. Use code PLAYER to get 25% off. That is fitbod.me. fitbod.me/player to get your body to where you want it to be.
Now, Chev, can you keep us in the loop on Tyler Loop for the Baltimore Ravens?
Listen, Tyler Loop, we were asked to give plays of the week. And so here we are with a play of the week. We're going to loop you in to Tyler Loop this week. So Loop's had double-digit fantasy points 2 weeks in a row. He steps into the Justin Tucker golden boot role and comes in clutch. And now we're getting him in what we think is going to be a high over-under. It's currently at 51.5. Has a great potential to shoot out, especially with the early secondary issues that the Ravens are having and, the Lions' desire to play man coverage, who absolutely, the Ravens have some of the best man coverage beaters. So we could get, this isn't a matchup show. This is about why Tyler Loop could potentially be on the field and in for quite a bit of action. So the Ravens have scored 81 points in 2 weeks. This is just fantasy. This is a boom. Okay. He's 62% available on ESPN and 74% available on Sleeper. You need to stop sleeping on Tyler Loop. Go get him. This is our play of the week. Jeremiah, tell us where you're going for your start of the week.
Now, we had talked about this, Chev. You had mentioned last week, Joey Sly, Tennessee Titans, look ahead, a player to have on your radar. Well, he is going to play the Colts, and that's just going to be an epic opportunity for a shootout. Right now, over-under, currently at 43.5. I think the over is safe there, and that means more kicker points. We mentioned Sly last week, 17 points fantasy for Joey Sly versus Rams in week 2. Only 2% rostered on Sleeper, less than 1% on ESPN. So, look, if you can't get in the loop on Tyler Loop, by all means, go back to Joey Sly. Cam Ward will move the ball well against the Colts defense. The Colts are looking like a good shootout partner. The ability for the Colts and the Titans to trade blows here, I think, is going to offer plenty of opportunity for points. And that's all we're looking for when we're trying to stream kickers. Now, going back to this game, we have Spencer Shrader. Tell us about Spencer Shrader of the Colts.
So we're staying in the game because it has a good potential. It has potential to shoot out, and we're talking about a team that scored 29 points basically in back-to-back weeks, and now they scored 33 in week 1, right? So they're averaging roughly 31 points a game. So one of the most explosive offenses that has all the pieces, and now with Daniel Jones, we've got potential here for a shootout. Spencer Shrader banged in a 60-yarder right before halftime this week. He's currently only 5% rostered on Sleeper and 3% rostered on ESPN. And we're looking at an opportunity for generational wealth via the kicking game. I mean, he's going to give you, he gave us 18 points in week 1, or 18 points last week and 16 points in week 1. This is a free money machine, especially if these teams are going to do what we think they're going to do. So let's chase the points. Let's chase Spencer Shrader. Alliteration aside, I'll take my chances with a kicker of this caliber.
So we like that Colts-Titans game. And then another player, if you can't be in the loop on Tyler Loop, Wil Lutz, right, for the Denver Broncos against the Chargers, over under 45.5. One of the earlier lines that are a little bit higher. There's actually a lot of 42s and 43s out there for week 3. Of course, that can change over the course of the week. You're going to get excellent weather conditions, and it shapes to be a shootout in LA. Lutz is 23% rostered on ESPN, 32% on Sleeper. So it's been a down week in week 2 with only 3 fantasy points. So it's going to be easy to get him off the waiver wire if all the elite kickers are taken. Your Brandon Aubreys are gone. Hey, this is a spot you can do if you're desperate, especially if you do that trick where you stash an extra player the entire week till you get news. You need somebody late. Go to Wil Lutz. If you're stuck in a league where people hoard kickers, Lutz is a good lower on the ladder option, and he'll be had for free. So now let's go to the Bills. Notice we talked about Bills defense, Bills kicker, Matthew Prater for the next 2 weeks. Chev, tell me about what he's got.
Well, first of all, we get to get him out of the way early this week. They play Miami on Thursday, and traditionally, the birth certificate for the Miami Dolphins in the Josh Allen era has read Buffalo Bills, one Bills drive or whatever, one Mafia drive, whatever they're called. So you get the Miami in week 3, which should be a scoring fest. They're going to light up the scoreboard. And then they get the Saints in week 4, another team that's probably going to be pretty hapless, and they should be on their way to a 30-burger again. So we're talking about a guy week 1, 12 points, week 2, 14 points. He's currently only 23% rostered on Sleeper and 34% rostered on ESPN. So you can go and you can mix and match whatever you want. If you can't get a hold of Tyler Loop, let's go ahead and get a hold of Matt Prater or Wil Lutz, or, just kickers du jour. You can have the kicker of your dreams here. So there's a lot of good options available. Coach, why don't you send us out?
Hey, those are your defenses and kickers for week 3. We will see you next week.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the hosts, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com, Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.